Hello, everyone. So we would be covering GCP. So this is basically Google Cloud Platform. And in this, we would be covering what is Google Cloud Platform. And we would be covering GCP services and benefit. And we would be covering what is Google Cloud Engine and overview of G Cloud account. So how we gonna make account and then we log into the uh, GCP account and start doing our work, right? So before starting GCP, I'd like to speak on what is cloud and why do we actually require cloud, right? So basic thing was in cloud, the introduction of cloud started when the issue arises with the physical data centers, right? So for any technology which comes up, any new technology which comes up, we need to have new services to take the financing cost and buy new bare metal machines and also get all the securities and all the stuffs that will involve all the financial costings with us, right? And also we would be needed to learn those technologies, and for learning those technology that will again induce our financial cost. And also it's very hard for any new company or new startup that they create a physical data centers for just one web application or for hosting a web application, right? So these were the basic challenges that came into account, and due to which we introduced cloud. So when cloud was introduced, there were main player was Amazon, which is AWS, as you know, and then Azure, which is given by Microsoft, was also introduced, and then Google introduced its own platform called GCP. Okay, so GCP is nothing. What it does is it gives you the logical stuffs, right? Wherein you can create your own simple websites, or you can create your own applications as per your requirement, right? And you can create the HA between those services. You can create load balancing between those services. I mean, each and every work that you require in the physical data centers were possible in the cloud, right? So GCP introduced that, and it has its own services which brings in into account and helps you to create any services or application for your company, right? Now when we talk about cloud, if any startup company wants to create an application, it doesn't have to buy all the bare metal or bare servers or any machineries to just open or to create a simple website. It will just take the services and it will create its own website, right? And due to which the costing will come down, and you don't have to worry about the physical security of that particular server or that physical server. You don't have to worry about any networkings. You don't have to worry about any schemas for just hosting one application, right? So a finished application can also be used for your case. Just you need to have some of the programming done, and everything will be in place. So your costing, your physical security, and your way of working will all be taken care by Google, and it makes very easy for any startup to come in and grow. And also, like if any new technology is coming in, you don't have to bring in the new servers or new I mean, you don't have to learn the new technology. It's just that you can just take the services, have it tested, and if it suits your environment, you can go with it. So you don't have to buy it and then test it, right? So testing and lab work also becomes easy in the cloud. So GCP gives all those work to you, right? And we'll proceed further. So we spoke about GCP, and you'll say that if GCP is a cloud, so where are the data centers? Because everything would be created in the data centers, right? So Google has its own data centers, that are placed in the regions. Regions are nothing but for our example, a region would be India, right? And all these zones in the sense, like suppose you have Delhi zone, you have Mumbai zone, you have Bangalore zone. These are actual the placement of your data centers. So India is a region. It has suppose it has three data centers, which are called zones in GCP. Would be your Delhi, Bangalore, and Mumbai, right? So these are the things that are differentiated, right? And this will be in turn in details. So now we speak like, why do we require GCP when we already had AWS and Azure with us, right? So if you see in our cases, we use Google search, right? Search engine, which gives a million of search result in just a millisecond or microsecond, you can say, right? So it becomes faster, right? So Google is faster, it's resilience, and it has the it doesn't have any latencies with it, right? And we also use our popular emailing services called Gmail, and we also use YouTube for any work or for any learning or any new stuff. So Google gives you thousand of videos for a single search. So the so all this is in the account why we choose Google. So Google gives us more faster services, resiliency is there, the HA is there, right? So and it has been from long time, and we have lots of data centers which help us to create the HAs between any services, right? If suppose for an example, let's suppose you are watching a movie in YouTube, and suppose your India server has gone down for some reason, but it might have the HA or any other server would be available in the other region. Let's suppose the other region is Sri Lanka, so your content will not come from that server, which is India, but it will come from Sri Lanka because it is nearer to you and it's available. So you will never have that latency. You will never have any failures to that particular services. Okay. So this slide, which is the next slide, wherein I've explained GCP over AWS. Okay. And this tells us about the costing which is required, and the costing are comparative to the types that we install. Like suppose we have VMwares, right? So in AWS or GCP or Azure, we also have VM based technology, which has different names in each cloud technology. So in our case, we have Google compute engine, and in AWS we have EC2 instance, right? So all those values or the costing is much lesser in GCP compared to AWS or Azure. So that is the reason also people prefer GCP, right? Because for any installation or deployment of any services or application, your costing will come down automatically, because GCP offers much lesser amount in the VMware or the virtualization, right? And the second slide, which explains the VM Fastboot. I mean, whenever there is a reboot of any machines, so it happens very quickly as compared to AWS or Azure. And the read-write speed are in MBs, which are much higher than the AWS and GCP. So the first diagram explain you about the VM Fastboot. So if you do a reboot or you have a maintenance reboot or shutdown, and you are restarting this services or this application server, so the rate of speed of the reboot is faster. And if you are booting a new VM from scratch for any website or any applications, so it's very fast than the AWS or Azure. And the same is comparative in the higher writing speeds also. So read and write, like suppose if you are putting any data on that particular application server, and if you are reading any data from that particular application server, so it's very fast than the AWS and Azure. So these are the reasons why we prefer GCP. And also GCP uses the renewable resources in their data centers, right? With that, it also looks into the environment also. So because if we are running lots and lots of servers in cloud, right? So there would be lots, I mean, there would be more usage of electricity, more usage of maintenance of that particular data centers. But if we use any renewable resources to cover those stuffs, so your total environment issues will also be reduced. So these are the, I mean, reasons why we use or why we go for GCP, and these are the details why we actually go to Google infrastructure. So if anyone has any questions, you can speak up. Otherwise, I'll move forward with it. Okay. So, I mean, the first thing is why we use, we have already spoken about it. I mean, I'm going in more details now. Why GCP? Why do we use it, right? So GCP uses the Google infrastructure, right? And I already spoke about the search engines and the YouTube videos and the Gmail services that we use are very fast, and it's a global availability. It's available anywhere you go, right? And redundancy, which is the HA. I spoke about the example of a YouTube video being shared by a content over the India server or Sri Lanka server. So that example also explained here. And innovative infrastructure means that for any client, it doesn't give you same features, right? So what is the requirement? The clients comes in and it moderates or it changes according to that client. So that is the reason it is also offers you the innovative infrastructure, right? So new infrastructure for new clients, if they have any requirement, special requirement, that is also being maintained and given by Google. The other second reason why we use this mix and match services, which means that they have all the available services that are there in the market, right? So any new services or new I mean applications comes in, so they are all available in the Google Cloud. Okay, so if you see in the second point, it's all written that Google Cloud Platform has all the services your application needs: compute, storage, and services. Right. So for any application to be hosted in any let's say in any data centers or in cloud, what do we require? We require a machine wherein we can install our iOS, right? So in our case, which is cloud, so it's provided by the compute, right? Which is nothing but the virtualization, which is also you can compare it with VMware also, right? And then you require storage. I mean, how many hard drive would you require on that particular machine so that it can have its all the logs or data? So that is also given or provided by Google. And the other are services. Like suppose if you require any particular service that is required for your case, it's all available in the cloud, right? The third point is the performance you can count on, right? So as I already spoke about that, it uses the Google infrastructure, and we know that we have already come across all the services that the Google has provided us, which is YouTube, Google search. So if you see, there is no latencies. It's always been faster, and it gives you all accurate values or searches, right? So the Google is so GCP is using the Google Cloud platform. So we in turns get the same performance that is required for any services you run on, right? So that is the reason Google Cloud is more preferred, right? And there is also a term called transparent maintenance. This means that if any maintenance is required on the Google data centers, what happens is you don't have to worry about your machineries. Like suppose in the legacy or in your data center case, if you want to have a maintenance, you need to have a cutover, and you also inform all your services or application holders saying that we have some maintenance with which your network or your access to that particular services might go down, right? So these things are not there or have not issues in the cloud. What they do is they do not touch your virtualization machines, or rather they transfer or they send the workload to other machineries and have a maintenance on that particular physical appliance, without any issue on your applications or services. Okay. Now the support. So like if you face any issue in any of the machines and all, and if you work on the OEM level, so you might be faced any issues and you open a tag case or support case for it, right? So the same advantage and same facilities are also available on GCP. So they provide you the support, and they provide you the 24 cross phone support, and there are some packages also, premium packages, that if you buy them you might have like 24 cross 7 into 365 days kind of a support, and might be there would be a visit to your infrastructure to understanding how the applications are working. So it all depends on the support packages you have taken, right? So these are the reasons why we prefer GCP across or over any other cloud technology that are there in the market. Okay. And now we speak about, I've told you the VM machineries that are available in the GCP. So the term called in GCP is GCE, which is nothing but Google Compute Engine, which is nothing but customizable VMware, wherein you can create according to your need, right? Which means that suppose if you want to create any application, suppose a web application server, wherein you want to have 4-core CPU, you need to have 16 GB RAM, you need to have 1 TB of hard drive. So all are these are available on the GCP. So you can create according to your needs, right? And if you see on the second line, I've mentioned also for new customers, you can create up to $300, right? Which will be free credit given to you so that you get familiarization with Google Cloud. But there are certain services that are not free. For that, you will be given a warning saying that this will cost you, right? And for opening account in Google Cloud, they would be asked you to put um, your card details, right? It is just for the identification, right? And it is also for if you want to have work on advanced services which is not free, so they will charge you from that. And before charging also they'll let you know how many or what is the total account or amount, right? So these are the stuffs that is there in the Google compute engine. So as I told you that this is all similar to virtualization that you might have done it, and we'll be explaining in details in our classes, right? And the last topic which I'll cover today is the type of cloud. So if you heard about a term called cloud, so you might have heard what is public cloud, what is private, what is hybrid cloud, and what is a community cloud, right? So in our case, when we are talking about GCP, AWS, Azure, or Alibaba, those are all examples of public cloud. Public cloud means that or it is over the internet, it is readily available, and if you create account, you will have the access, and you can start preparing or start creating or start deploying any new application services or anything on the cloud, right? Now, private clouds are is you can say that it's similar to your local data centers, right? That is, you only will be having access, no third party or no outsider will have access to that particular data centers, right? Unless and until you have given the access to it, right? So these cloud are comparative to the local data centers. Okay. And hybrid cloud is a mixture wherein we use public cloud and private cloud, right? For example, let's suppose you are moving your some services from your local data centers to public cloud, suppose called GCP. So you need to have some sort of connectivity between your local data center and your GCP cloud, right? So once you create that connectivity, maybe using the VPN gateways that are available in GCP, or you might create VPN between those local data center firewall and a firewall in cloud or a router in cloud. right? So once the connectivity is there, those kind of setup is called hybrid cloud. The last community cloud is nothing, is for, if I want to give an example, this is similar kind of an forum. Like suppose you have forums, right, for Cisco, for Fortinet, for Palo Alto, wherein you go and you share your views and you get to know stuffs from that community. So those I mean, those forum for Cisco and Fortinet or Palo Alto are more concerned to security, right? So there might be other folks which are into DevOps. There might be other folks which are into a website creation. So all the concerned, all the shared views that are there, so they use a community cloud wherein they can go and share their views and practice some sort of new technology or new services that are coming in the market and giving them the views. So before creating anything, you want to go to the community cloud wherein you see that how this is how it is done and what are the issues that are being raised on this type of technology. So this help. So it's also, if you can compare, you can compare it with a WhatsApp group also, right? So there might be a society WhatsApp group wherein you go, you put your views, you get to see a news or any update from that particular group, right? So same sort of concept is also used in the community wherein folks come in, they share their views, they take the views, right? So yeah, so that's all about today's session. So if anybody has question, you can unmute yourself and let me know, or you can send the questions in the chat. Okay, I see one question. Which cloud is best for network, GCP, Azure, AWS, and what is the best for future to learn? Okay, so as I spoke earlier, I mean, GCP is comparatively better in terms of the costing, in terms of services, and in terms of the infrastructure, right? And we are familiarized with the Google services, right? Day to day, we use Google, and it becomes very easy, right? And you don't have to create multiple accounts for it. You can have your local Gmail account being used in the GCP platform also. So comparatively, GCP would be more. And now, because everybody is moving to Google and it is more trusted, right? So I mean, GCP is more into future, and it might go in future, and people need to learn this technology, right? And it has very good future. So I would prefer GCP over AWS or Azure. Is it necessary to learn programming? I won't, I mean, it's not mandatory for programming. It depends on your requirement, how you want to work on a cloud, right? So let's suppose if you are into a background in a programming background, you want to create certain work or certain applications, right? And you want to automate, right? So there are simple ways of doing automation also. But if you want to have it in more advanced way, so you can learn programming and then create certain automation templates or script, so that everything is automated and your things are more smoother and done in faster way. But, I mean, I've already spoken, so it's not mandatory to learn programming, right? So for handling GCP, it's not required, right? Again, I said for any, it's up to your requirement how you want to move forward. Yeah. Yes, Mandeep, I see that you've raised hand. Please go ahead. Okay, which programming will be useful? I mean, this is, I mean, the GCP has JSON. They use Python also. And to kickstart any if you ask any suggestion from me to start programming, I would suggest go with Python, right? Because it is readily used in lots and lots of services and application and technologies. So I would prefer to go with Python. Yeah. If we have networking background, that should I select? I don't have any interest in programming. I want to switch to cloud. Yes, yes. I mean, this is not required. This is not mandatory to go for programming, right? as I already told, and it's very good that if you have networking background, right? And because it's all about networking for any services to work, they need to have any connection or any communication, right? So how we would be creating any communication, we need to have the networking, right? And we need to make we need to have a knowledge on networking, right? And we need to have basic knowledge on the OSI layers. We need to have basic understanding on subnetting. So all those come into handy, right? Is GCP certification easy? I mean, it depends on you how you are taking things in, right? And how you are learning this thing and how much you are practicing. If you are practicing daily and you actually understand how things are working, so any certification, I mean not GCP, any certification becomes easy. So it's all because and it's all on you how you take things in. Yes, I see that I have 5 years of 5 year plus of experience in network engine and RNS. Can I directly start with GCP? Yes, yes, you can. Not an issue. So it's very easy, right? You'll understand it very easily, and the same concept of the local data centers that we do. I mean, the routing and switching part is also there. It also supports GCP, BGP, and it also has static route concepts, right? So all those will come into handy for you. Which firewall used in cloud? I mean, it's not particular. GCP has its own native firewalls, right? And third-party vendors called Fortinet, third-party vendor called Palo Alto, Cisco Firepower, all are giving their own firewall services, right? So it all depends on the client to client, how they want to use it and what to use it. There is no preferences on it. What is the course cost for cloud computing for all cloud provider? That you'll get details from the our team, right, on this part. And prerequisite for GCP course. Okay, so basic understanding on networking, as I told you, right? And basic understanding on how things work in any in local data centers, for example, OSI layers, what is TCP, what is UDP, what is a simple firewall, and what is OSI layer, how things work. So those basic understanding is there. It's okay, but we'll be covering everything on our courses, right? So all this stuff, if anybody, if anyone has no knowledge also, they can come in, because we'll be starting with all the basics. Okay. And okay, more question, which cloud is best to learn? So I mean, if you are starting cloud, I would prefer you to go with GCP, because it's easy to understand, and it's more preferred nowadays. And once you learn GCP, it's become it becomes very easy to go to any other cloud platform, AWS or Azure. Cloud with firewall, how uses for security? Okay, so it once you talk about firewalls, right? So firewall gives you security, and it depends what firewall you are using. Is it up to L4 or is it up to L7? I'm talking in terms of OSI layer, right? So cloud has its own, as I told you, that it has native in the sense they have their own local firewall that they use in the GCP. And a client, if doesn't want to go with the native firewalls, they can also go with the third party which are available: Fortinet, Palo Alto, Cisco Firepower. And there are other security products also, like WAF, the application firewalls, all those stuffs also comes in, right? So all works on the, it is up to you how you want to place it. Either you want to place it on the edge, saving any attacks or any access control from the outside world to inside world, right? Or you can have it for particular application services, just to have it in more secure way, right? So it all depends on your architecture, how you are creating the architect for your infrastructure. Okay. Okay, where we get GCP Cloud Shell Network command. Okay, so If you go to the GCP and you create your account, right? There are free templates and commands available, and you can go to the docs.googlecloud.com, right? There you'll find all the network commands, cloud shell commands, and you can, as I told you, that you can download the templates wherein all the basic commands and all would be there. So you can create and you can customize it, modify it according to your requirement. Okay, so GCP gives you a free trial, right? And it is up to $300, right? So basic work you can do, you can create a compute engine, you can create VPC, you can create subnets, you can do the routing, right? So all the free stuffs can be done. You need to create an account, create as in if you already have a Gmail account, you can just open it with the GCP. Now, for the first timers, what you need to do is you need to add your card details. It's just for the verification part, right? And it will have some verification amount, and it will be then and there returned to you, will be credited back to your account. So there is no issues or no issues of the card details and all. So you can go with it. It's very secure, right? So for the first timer, you need to do that. Then you can create up to the $300 free trial, right? And you can practice there. Okay. So about the courses, you can connect to the networking team, right? Networkings, and those folks will make you understand what is the duration, what is the cost, and what are all the topics that we're gonna complete. Okay, or cover. So the duration should be 30 hours, right? And if you want to know the details on what would be covered, you need to connect with the team. Okay. Web developers are not sure what is the question here. I want to ask you a question. Is there any jobs in web developer? What should I do, front end or back end? Not sure. Not relevant to the, yeah, okay. The next question is, can we get good salary after completing this course? Good salary is very is a topic that we need to discuss, right? What is a good salary according to you, right? So yes, I mean, I'm definite that if you are working on any company now, you'll surely get a good hike when you complete this kind of course, because cloud is an technology that gonna be used in the future, right? And if you go to the surveys and all, if you have this understanding how to search surveys and all, so the survey shows us that everything would be moved to cloud, right? And these are the uh, I mean these clouds, I mean GCP, Azure, and AWS will always be there, right? And if you learn about this technology, this will go in with you, and you'll surely have hikes. And as you grow into this technology field, um, you'll have more experience, and with more experience, you'll have your salary package boomed up, right? Okay, which cloud provider jobs we have in Chandigarh? Not sure about that. I'm not sure in Chandigarh. Costing, you need to get connected with the networking team, right? So they'll let you know about this costing. Okay, and if you want to understand the GCP certification cost and all, you can go into the Pearson, or you can go to the GCP support portals or document portal. There you'll have the exact details with the GST amount or the taxes amount. Is it the right time to switch to cloud from networking with 5 plus? See, I mean, I mean, a lot of people have this issue that they take cloud and networking as a separate stuff. This is not separate. These are all interconnected, Okay, so the networking which you do in the legacy data centers, the way you do are different in cloud, but there is networking a topic in Google or in any cloud services. Okay, so they are not different. So they are not different, they are same. And the security term is also available in the cloud. So if you are a security engineer, so security stuffs are also there. If you are a developing items are also available in the cloud, right? And if you're from DevOps is also available there. If you're from a database and background, databases is also there. So everything is available in the cloud. So there is no differences. So there is always uh, I mean, there is always right time to go to cloud, right? Because this is the technology that is booming in, and you need to learn. If you are started learning and started doing work in it, so in future it becomes very easy for you. If any new technology comes in, you can change your career. Okay, I think I answered your question then. Any more question? Please go ahead. Okay, I've been telling you that the GCP uses all the Google infrastructures, right? And there are a lot of people moving in to GCP, and there are lots and lots of data centers and regions coming in. The Google is working hard on creating all these data centers, regions, so that the clients have optimal and resiliency, HA kind of stuff for any services that they purchase from GCP. And they have costing less compared to AWS, Azure, right? So all prefer GCP nowadays. So I would suggest you to go with GCP, right? So there's nothing that if you learn GCP, you cannot go to Azure or AWS, because if you have a basic understanding on cloud and you know any cloud first, you can easily move to Azure or AWS. But for starting, because for starting you guys are coming from the legacy data background, the data center backgrounds, and the legacy networking or security background, right? So all these can be easily transferred, or you can easily move to cloud from GCP, because the way of working on Azure and AWS is different. It becomes very difficult to understand for a fresher coming from any background, and GCP gives it in an easy way, and people understand it in a better way. So I would suggest you to go with GCP. Okay, and there's nothing that you cannot go back to Azure or GCP, or sorry, AWS or Alibaba also. So if you are basic understanding and you understand the cloud as a whole, so it's very easy to go in. Okay. Not sure, Sheila, what is it? Sir will be the instructor if we join this course. Okay, so if you're talking about this course, I would be teaching this GCP topic, right? So you, if you're interested, and if you want to have your career boomed in, and you need to have your salary hikes, right? So you need to connect with the network team, right? Networking team, and they'll let you know how to get in and when the course would be starting, what is the cost, and what are the topics that are gonna covered, right? And do not have this confusion that how it's gonna be, and I don't have any experience, I do not have anything on the networking side. You do not have to worry, right? Because when we would be starting as a basic as a fresher. So we'll make you understand all the networking items, will be make you understand the OSI layers, the subnetting part. When those topics are cleared up, then we'll move forward with GCP. Okay. Okay, what is the difference between Azure, GCP, and other cloud platform? So already spoke about this multiple times, that GCP has costing differences. They are using Google infrastructure, which makes it faster, have more HA or high availability or resiliencies, right? And if you see, you use Google services daily on daily basis, right? You go on to Google search, you go on to Gmail, you go on to YouTube, all are provided by Google. So people already trust Google services. right? So GCP is coming and running on the Google infrastructure. So all are preferred for GCP. And the way of working, way of working in the sense of deployment or of any implementation or creating any services on the GCP is a little bit different compared to Azure or AWS. These all details will be summed up in our courses. Okay, so I would prefer you to join our courses, and we'll be explaining in more details about these stuffs. In security, we used security device in cloud. How security instance used? Not sure I've got the question right. Cloud security, which how works? Okay, so you're saying how cloud security works in AWS, right? So if you remove cloud and you only focus on security, so in terms of you, what is security? Right, so that is the something that you need to know, that what security you're talking about. Are you talking about the access security? Are you talking about the data flow security? Are you talking about data in rest security? Are you talking about data in transit security? So all this stuff we need to know, right? And for each we have, or GCP has its own native services also, or any third party in the sense not approved, not approved, but not given by GCP, but a third party. Like suppose if you talk about firewalls, so in firewalls we know that Checkpoint, Palo Alto, Cisco Firepower, Fortinet, all these are the players in the firewall. So all these third parties are also available on GCP or any other cloud. So we have semantics, we have uh, other third-party vendors that also gives security services, not only firewalls but other SIM tools or any other I mean SIM tools, right? So these are the steps that we do. So in our courses, we would be covering how we would, I mean, place in a native service firewall. Native service meaning that GCP has its own firewall. So how we will be placing it any architecture, and how we will be placing any third-party firewall in the network. Okay, so all this stuff would be covered in our courses. So and these all would be not basic, they would all be all labs would be in the advanced way, like how company does it, or user company does it. Okay, how a architecture is constructed, how it is made, what are the steps that we take to create any architect. Okay, or in infrastructure diagrams. So all this stuff would be covered in. Okay, any more questions? Or we can wind up. Yeah, we would be doing labs, so no worries on that. And we would be having the topics covered first, and then we'll move on to the labs. Okay, because unless and until you will not do any labs, you will not understand any technology. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, we can wind up the call for today. Okay. Okay. What will be best GCP DevOps or GCP network engineer for networking domain? Uh, okay. So see, the thing is, everything you need to do it in a basic manner, right? Um, like suppose if you make a house also, you will not be making a roof first. You'll be first doing the foundation, you'll be putting pillars and then a roof, right? So my in my suggestion, you should start with networking, right? You need to understand how things goes inside a, GCP or any cloud, and how you place the services or application servers, how you give the security, and then you can work on the advanced services such as your DevOps, your Kubernetes, your containers. You have, I mean, native security appliances available in GCP. All right. So I would suggest you to go with basic stuffs and then move forward. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. It was pleasure, and it was pleasure answering all your questions. And when I was starting the career in cloud, I also had this kind of questions. So it's very good that you're coming up with the questions. And thank you so much, guys. See you in the class then.